So picture this. Gloria steps out of the black Lincoln, looking sharp, nothing flashy, just that quiet kind of elegance, the sort that makes you want to stand a little straighter. She's barely made it up the marble steps when a woman in a navy uniform blocks her, voice sweet as vinegar, deliveries and staff, please use the back entrance. Gloria just blinks, purse tight in her grip. I'm here for lunch. My son, Derek Samuels. The staffer doesn't even blink, just repeats herself. It's not the first time Gloria's been mistaken for help, and Lord knows it won't be the last, but that sting, it never dulls. Meanwhile, Derek's inside, raising a glass to the room. This is his moment, the celebration of a lifetime of hard work. He clocks the situation in a heartbeat, the way only a son can. His mother, standing small and proud, being told she doesn't belong. But before he can react, another voice slices through the air. Victoria Hathaway herself, pearls heavy on her neck, says, I suppose we let anyone in these days. Are we letting the cleaning staff dine with us now? You know what I mean? The kind of comment that chills a room. Some people laugh, always a few who want to be on the winning side, right? But Derek's face has already changed, and everyone can feel it. He doesn't yell, doesn't make a scene. He just walks over, places a gentle hand on his mom's shoulder, asks if she's all right. She lies, of course, doesn't want to ruin his day. But Derek, he's not letting it slide. You just disrespected the most important person in this building, he tells the staffer, calm as ever, before helping Gloria back to the car, looking her right in the eye. You were the moment, Ma. Then he turns, walks back up those steps, and something in him is burning. The deal's supposed to be locked up tight, a merger that would catapult Derek's company into the stratosphere, Hathaway money and all. The boardroom's full, everyone waiting for the champagne toast. But Derek's not interested in business as usual. He stands, looks around the table, and says, I'm not signing. The room freezes, just stops breathing for a second. Victoria tries to wave it off, calls it a misunderstanding, but Derek isn't having it. You knew what you said. You meant it. The lawyers fidget, the Hathaway sons stammer, but Derek stands his ground. Some things, he says, aren't negotiable. Not for a check. Not for anything. He walks out, no papers, no handshake, just that heavy, absolute silence. But out there in the world, silence doesn't last. By sunrise, the story's everywhere. Black CEO walks out of $900 million deal after mother insulted by billionaire family. At first, it's a few podcasts, a couple of blogs. By noon, it's Forbes, then cable news. Not because the deal fell through, but because someone finally said enough is enough, and meant it. And suddenly, Derek isn't just a CEO, he's a symbol, like it or not. Of course, the Hathaway family scrambling, emergency meetings, damage control. Victoria's oldest son wants an apology, PR advisors whisper about reputation risk, but Victoria won't budge. They always come back when the money runs out, she says, more certain than ever. But the world's changed. People start sharing stories about being asked to use the back elevator, to take off their apron, to know their place. And Derek's press conference just pours gas on the fire. No script, no filter. Just, I canceled the deal because respect isn't negotiable. You let disrespect in, it spreads. His team's divided. Some back him, some panic. Money was on the line, and now it's gone. Investors call, nervous, angry. His cousin and co-founder, Theron, is furious. You made a decision for all of us, he says. Maybe that was her fight, not yours. But Derek won't bend. I was raised not to sell my name for a seat at someone else's table. Even with the company's future at risk, he'd rather rebuild from scratch than rot from within. But pressure comes from all sides. The Hathaway camp starts whisper campaigns, threatens lawsuits, tries to paint Derek as unstable. Reporters dig into his past. And then twist. You asked for one. Here it is. A letter shows up, handwritten, no return address. It's from Camille Pierce, daughter of the country club's old groundskeeper. You reminded me of my father, she writes. Not everyone forgets where they came from or who they stand up for. Derek finds her, visits her in Harrisburg, brings banana bread, listens to her stories about pride, about dignity, about not bowing your head for anyone. That letter, that visit, it roots him, reminds him why he walked away in the first place. life keeps moving. Gloria faints at Bible study, just low iron, the doctor says, but it shakes Derek. He sits with her, listens, and decides to channel all that fire into something that lasts, a foundation, the Gloria Initiative for warehouse workers and their families. No fanfare, just real help. Health screenings, child care, tuition stipends. The first community day is a picnic, food, music, kids running everywhere, and Derek stands up and says, "I turned down $900 million. They said I was crazy. But this, right here, this is worth more than any check." But even then, the past isn't finished with him. A voicemail arrives, Dwayne, his father's brother, missing for decades, calling to say he's proud, he's sorry. Maybe peace is possible. Derek calls back. They talk, not about business, but about fishing trips, high school football, and the empty space left behind when family goes silent. That conversation, it doesn't heal everything, but it lightens the load just enough. So when a young intern catches Derek on his way out, says, "You proved my dad wrong. You stuck to your morals." Derek just smiles and says, "No, my mother did." And that's legacy, isn't it? It's not what you leave behind when you die. It's what you refuse to let die while you're still here. Now, I gotta ask, where's the line for you? When is enough finally enough? Is there a price worth selling your name, your family, your dignity? Because one man walking out made a whole country talk. Maybe it's time we all started saying a little more out loud. Let me know your take. What would you have done? And does the world really change when one person says no and means it? Let me back up a sec. After the dust settled from the country club fallout and the community day event, Derek thought life might finally slow down. He kept his head down, worked late, spent Sundays with Gloria, and watched the company's steady regrowth. But the storm had only changed him, no Kongbian Matt. People still whispered his name, sometimes with admiration, sometimes with resentment, because when you break the silence, you don't just set yourself free, you force everyone else to look in the mirror. 2.3 months after the Gloria Initiative launch, the media frenzy cooled, but inside the logistics industry, the waves rolled on. One Thursday morning, just after the staff breakfast, Nia came into Derek's office with a look he hadn't seen before, half excited, half worried. "You got a letter," she said, sliding a cream envelope across his desk. It was stamped with the Department of Justice seal. Inside, a formal invitation. "Mr. Samuels, we request your participation in a congressional hearing on equity and ethical practices in corporate America." Turns out, Gloria's story had inspired more than hashtags. It had landed on the desk of Representative Rosalind Pierce, chairwoman of the House Subcommittee on Labor and Ethics. She wanted Derek's voice, not as a victim, not as a symbol, but as someone who'd set a new standard. The hearing would be national, televised. Derek's gut twisted. He never wanted the spotlight. He wanted change. But now, refusing would feel like hiding. He called Gloria that night. She listened, quiet, then said, "If you tell the truth, son, tell it like you lived it. Don't dress it up for them." So Derek agreed, and 2 weeks later, he found himself sitting under the marble dome in D.C., heart pounding as the cameras zoomed in. Let me tell you, those hearings, they're built for show. Suits everywhere, faces impassive, and questions that circle like sharks. The chairman opened. "Mr. Samuels, why did you walk away?" Derek leaned forward, looked every representative in the eye, and said, "Because silence gets inherited. If I'd stayed quiet, I'd be teaching the next man to swallow his pride for a check, and I wasn't raised for that." His words landed with a weight the room wasn't ready for. But the real twist came when Victoria Hathaway herself was subpoenaed to appear. She tried to send lawyers, but the committee insisted. On national television, under oath, Victoria finally had to answer, not just for that one day, but for years of closed doors, private elevators, policies designed to keep their kind in the back. She kept her composure, but the old arrogance had cracked. When pressed on Gloria, she faltered. "I regret my words," she said. But even as she apologized, you could see the calculation in her eyes. A woman trained her whole life to never admit defeat. But America saw something different, a face of old power, and beside her, a son who had built his own house, brick by brick. The hearing ended not with fireworks, but with a subtle shift, one that spread faster than headlines ever could. Back in New York, the impact was immediate. Companies started revising HR policies. Union organizers cited Derek's testimony. For the first time, junior staffers at 3 rival firms walked out in protest when a manager made a similar back-in-trance comment. The industry called it the Gloria effect. Some said it was overblown. Others grumbled about woke politics, but no one could deny a nerve had been hit. Meanwhile, Derek's own circle still wasn't all unity and harmony. Theron, his cousin, struggled with the reality of a future less golden than they'd planned. One night, over whiskey in the old Trenton warehouse, Theron finally let it out. "I built this with you. But sometimes I wonder if I got left behind when you decided to make a stand." Derek didn't argue. He just listened. "We both lost something that day," Derek said quietly. "But I didn't lose myself." After that, the air between them softened. Not quite healed, but no longer raw. And then came the second unexpected twist, one that would make even the Hathaway scandal look small. It started with an anonymous email to the Gloria Initiative's info inbox. Subject line, "The club list." Attached, a decades-old roster of the Greenwich Country Club's restricted access list, names of staff, guests, even children who'd been denied entry, flagged, or mistreated over the years. Scrawled at the bottom, "Some chains are invisible." It was a map of silent exclusion, proof that what happened to Gloria was never just an accident. Derek and Nia debated, go public or handle quietly. But this time, it wasn't just about shaming the old guard. Instead, Derek reached out to the club board directly, asked for a meeting, no press, no threats. When he walked into that paneled room, every eye was on him. "You can hide your lists," he said, "but you can't hide the truth forever. People deserve better, even if it costs you comfort." To his surprise, 2 younger board members broke ranks, agreed to release an official apology, and pushed for a new membership policy, public, inclusive, and transparent. It made the news, but what mattered was the shift behind the scenes. Doors opening, new faces walking in for the first time, heads held high. Of course, not everyone was happy. Victoria Hathaway lost her honorary chair. The old money crowd called Derek a troublemaker. But for every door that slammed, 2 more opened. Offers to consult, to join boards, to lead. Derek kept saying no. "I don't want a seat at your table. I want to build a bigger one." And life kept moving. Gloria's health stabilized, but she slowed down. Less travel, more evenings on the porch with Derek and a pitcher of sweet tea, laughing at old Sanford and Son reruns. Derek visited Camille in Harrisburg every couple months, their unlikely friendship a reminder that dignity, once claimed, is a torch you pass on. One afternoon, at a community event in Newark, a young woman approached Derek, nervous. "Mr. Samuels, my dad lost his job at Hathaway last month. He says he's proud you stood up, but he's scared. Are things really changing?" Derek crouched to her level, voice gentle. "Change is slow. Sometimes it's 3 steps forward, 2 back. But you don't stop walking, you hear me?" That night, standing in the doorway of Gloria's kitchen, Derek watched his mother stir greens in the same old cast-iron pan. "You did good, son," she said. "But remember, no matter how loud the world gets, real change starts quiet, right here." He nodded, understanding that legacy wasn't about headlines or lawsuits, or even the billions left on the table. It was about showing up, speaking out, and refusing to let silence win, again and again. So now, let me throw it back to you. After all the drama, the headlines, the hurt, and the healing, what would you have done? Is the fight worth the price, even when it's lonely at the top? And does real change start in a courtroom, or in the courage to walk through the front door, head high, knowing you might be the first, but you sure as hell won't be the last? Drop your thoughts below, because this story, like respect itself, belongs to everyone who dares to claim it.